You come down to Nigeria, and so you begin to, it's like, you know, a continental problem.
It's a continental problem. When you see, all you just need to do is to take a critical look at the anti-corruption index. Africa, all parts of the world. We are not the worst on the continent.
Okay, let me come to the issue.
We make too much noise about
Professor Albert,
it is hurting our international image.
Is it about making so much noise about it, or an admittance that there is corruption in this part of the world, which is heavy?
There is,
and not to also forget, we also have the UK former Prime Minister saying that Nigeria is, you know, he said
Nigeria is absolutely corrupt.
Yes, absolutely corrupt, and fantastically corrupt.
Yes, he was actually feeding into what the president was saying immediately he was voted into office. For about 8 months, he was just going around the world saying Nigerians are very corrupt, Nigerians are very corrupt. Investors will not come to your country. When you go around demonizing your country, what political leaders are supposed to be doing is to be canonizing their country.
I'm a little bit worried.
You canonize the country, and then you do the work within. Every country is fighting corruption.
Okay.
There's no country that is not fighting corruption.
You know,
America is fighting corruption.
Okay.
But you don't find the political leadership of that country going around the world demonizing the citizens.
I'm a little bit worried, because if we see this, are we saying that even the international community is not aware that the country is been facing the problems of corruption? Let's even look at the issue of contracts, for instance, which some of these individuals come outside the country to execute contracts here, and they know how these things are done. They know instances where money exchange hands. They see all of this, and they go back to their country without motive, without notion, for instance, that, you know, Nigerians are people who are ready to pass money around, to exchange money for contracts, for instance, that will be for the benefit of their people. Are you saying that until President Muhammadu Buhari start mentioning this is when they realize?
You see, everybody is aware that Nigerians are corrupt. Everybody is aware that Ghanaians are corrupt. It's a matter of degree. All countries of the world are corrupt. I mean, all countries of the world are corrupt. But you see, what you do as a political leader is to strengthen your institutions for managing the problem. But that should not be the political rhetoric you carry around the world, telling everybody. Because you see, when we go abroad, we are assessed by what our leaders say.
So you mean Mr. President's conferences is doing more harm than good?
Yes, he's doing more harm than good. A professor went to a Scandinavian country to work, and when he was leaving, there was they organized a small party for him, and they told him at that meeting that we spent 3 months actually trying to assess you as a Nigerian, as promoted by the leadership of the country. You see, what we are saying, when people are discussing it, they discuss it from the perspective of APC, PDP, but travel out and you see the massive effect of this rhetoric, on everybody. It is not the responsibility of the president to jail anybody. I'm sure we are aware of this. So when the president goes around, I'm going to jail them, it's not the person who is going to jail them. His role is to make Nigeria become a better country. Let EFCC do its work. Let ICPC do its work. Buhari did not establish ICPC. Buhari did not establish EFCC.
Prof, it's a little bit amusing. When you see instances of Abacha loot to start with, you start in Swiss banks and the rest of it, and we have a lot of our ex-leaders, for instance, being charged outside the country for money laundering. And of recent, the petroleum industry too has come under fire by the person who was managing that sector before now. All of this put together, do you think the problem now is Buhari saying that I'm going to fight corruption?
Some Ghanaians were jailed in America recently. All over the country, all over the continent, you find Africans running into problems all over the world. But that is not a reason for the leadership of those countries to be demarketing the country. You are demarketing Nigeria.
So you see, President Muhammadu Buhari is demarketing Nigeria.
He's talking too much about it, and it is damaging Nigeria.
Okay, let's
damaging Nigeria.
Let's go for solution.
Let me even talk about this.
Let's look at it.
Let's even be practical here.
Yes.
You travel a lot.
Yes.
For instance, if you pass through, I'm not trying to spite any individual here.
Yes.
If you pass through Nigerian system and you're traveling, you expect some officials, for instance, wanting you to tip
Yes.
You know, it happens. And
Yeah, we see it
foreigners,
in some other parts of the world.
it doesn't work that way. In
We
other part of the
we
world.
see it in some other parts of the world.
Okay.
But that is not a reason for the political leadership of that country to be making political statements, you know, around it.
Let me
But
just
is it
ask-
as
Problems
bad?
are there.
Is
So
it-
if you see anybody giving tips, what you do is to strengthen the security system at your airports. You see, let me give you a very good example. My wife is a thief. Your husband is a thief. Will you go around the marketplace actually telling everybody your husband is a thief? I will not go around telling everybody my wife is a thief. What I should be doing as a responsible leader, what I should be doing as the head of my home is to put in place structures for managing that problem.
And
so when the president goes to Russia, goes to this place and say my people are very corrupt, you are damaging the country.
Okay, now-
and you see, cleaning up the country when you leave becomes very, very difficult.
Okay.
It becomes very difficult.
Let's look at, let's proffer solutions now. Now, if I got you right,
Yes.
Mr. President did not fare well in terms of his anti-corruption
He talks
fund
too much.
in
He talks too
2018. Okay, now let's look at our best. Because Atiku Abubakar just reminded him that, come, this noise you're making, my party, the PDP, was able to jail a former Inspector General of Police.
Yes.
You know, which is an
They
absolute
jailed
truth.
a former Inspector General of Police. Alamesia was brought to Abuja in handcuffs.
So, which is true.
Handcuffs.
And so, what exactly is Mr. President not doing right? What should he moving ahead in 2019?
What I expect him to be doing is to strengthen the structures around the EFCC.
Is it weak
It's
presently?
It's weak. It's presently
EFCC
weak.
is weak.
It's weak. ICPC is very weak. Many of these agencies are funded from outside. You see,
Not even by the federal
you
government.
need to move close to the institutions themselves.
You are
You
close
when
to
you move
this
to the institutions
institution.
themselves, you see variance. What the president is saying is totally different from what is really happening. Most of the things you see the president, is saying is to score political points. Because if you ask him now, what do you have for us in 2019? All he will be telling you is we are fighting corruption.
He has said it
and this
already.
is because there is nothing to me. There is nothing to report. If you have good things to report, you will tell us where we are as a nation.
Are you a party man?
No, I'm not a. I'm a specialist in analysis of problems of this nature.
Okay, sir. You know, Prof, you talked about structures not being strong itself.
Yes.
What are these structures to start with?
Well, you take cases to court. You see, we've held several meetings across Africa on this problem. Nigerians can be deceiving themselves, but people are meeting all over the world assessing anti-corruption in Africa. Nigeria is not part of it. Nigeria is not doing well. Now you said what
are the structures that are failing?
You have not been able to have a permanent leadership for EFCC. National Assembly, yes, is the problem, but how are you going around it? Because to the global community, the fact that you are not able to have is a minus for your anti-corruption whatever. Now it is a minus in the sense that the report that prevented Magu from being confirmed came from DSS that is under your presidency. That is number one. The second one is you take many cases to court, and these people go to court, they appear once, they appear twice, and then nothing. How many convictions have you had? They will give you conviction rates for poor people, but all these high profile criminals that have taken our resources away, how many of them
Prof, don't forget that in
how many of them have we jailed?
Prof, don't forget that in 2018,
yes,
President Muhammadu Buhari was saddled with the responsibility of leading the anti-corruption war on the continent because of his
for two reasons. The first one is that Nigerians voted him to office because of this anti-corruption whatever. Then the second one is that he talked tough about it. But the question is, when you put all African countries together, when you put all African scholars together, when you put all African security analysts together, what is the rating? These publications will begin to come out from next year. You begin to see the performance of Nigeria with anti-corruption. You see, those who will be doing the assessment are not going to base their conclusions on noise making. They are going to base their conclusions on scientific evidence.
But really, Prof, if you're fair to the president, for instance, it's a democratic setting.
Yes.
Can you force the National Assembly, for instance, to say you must confirm Magu to start with? Can he do that?
If Magu was not confirmed, is Magu the only person in Nigeria? Is Magu the only person in Nigeria?
Was there enough reason?
If really we want to do this work, let's forget about whatever is happening at the National Assembly. Magu is a police officer. How many police officers do we have in Nigeria? Is Magu the only person? That is number one. Two, why is the National Assembly not actually approving that appointment? A report came from DSS, an institution of the state that operates under the presidency. So, you see, this is what people will look at from outside. They're not going to look at this PDP.
You're not giving it to Mr. President in this anti-corruption fight. When Obasanjo established EFCC, in particular, and ICPC, there was an allegation that he was using, these institutions to fight his perceived enemies. Jonathan came there. Of course, he did it best in all that. Under Jonathan, we have Farid Waziri and Ibrahim Lamodi and all that. And now you have, incumbent Ibrahim Magu, who also is facing same allegation, saying, oh, you are just, a poster boy in the hands of Mr. President.
Yes.
And so this narrative for the past years has been on and on. So how sure are we that in common dispensation, we're still not going to have this kind of narrative that this institution is being used to witch hunt political enemies?
What we should be targeting is to have anti-corruption agencies that will not be used against political adversaries.
We should set up another
one.
Yes,
there was a presentation I listened to in Mali recently on this problem, where in which Nigeria was being accused of violating fundamental human rights using anti-corruption, whatever. So you see, we are looking forward to a Nigeria where Nigerian leaders will truly fight corruption. Corruption is a problem. If we don't fight it, it will kill this country. But the kind of thing we see around today, to me, is not anti-corruption.
Advise Mr. President as we wrap up. I hate 2019.
Let him not politicize anti-corruption.
Is it politicized now?
It's for now politicized.
Okay, and lastly, in wrapping up itself, what should be some of the restructuring within our anti-corruption agency itself? Like the chairmanship of the commission, where should it come from? The funding, where should it come from?
We need to have leaders. We need to have substantive leader for EFCC. For now, ICPC does not have a chairman. They are still struggling to have a chairman. And
someone was just confirmed.
It's how many months now that it has taken us to actually to do that. Now, when we are fighting corruption, let the president detach himself from it. The president is not the chairman of EFCC. The chairman is not the chairman of ICPC. These are institutions of the Nigerian state. Let them work. It's like EFCC is like University of Ibadan, where I came from. The president should not be the vice chancellor of EFCC. He should not be the vice chancellor of the University of Ibadan.
There should be a law backing him up. Yes, there should be a law.
Let the president face his own office, do what we voted for him to do, and allow the vice chancellor of the University of Ibadan to function as a vice chancellor.
All right, thank you so much.
But he stays there in Abuja and he wants to control everything.
Thank you, Professor Olawale Albert. We've been speaking to Professor Olawale Albert, and he is a public affairs analyst. He's a scholar, and of course, we've been looking at Nigeria's anti-corruption war in 2018. We must say thank you very much. And I hope that some of the suggestions, we hope, for instance, that the chairmanship, who selects or who appoints the chairmanship of some of these anti-corruption agencies will be looked at, and secondly, the funding of these corruption agencies too will be critically looked at, so that we'll have an holistic approach, and in 2019 it will be much more a better war.
All right, thank you so much, everyone. This is where we're going to wrap it up. A lot has been said on the program this morning, but of course, Professor Patrick Mulumba, a Kenyan, did say early this year that an average Nigerian is not stealing, not because he does not want to, but because someone somewhere is watching him or her. That itself is indicting. And so the narrative must change. The change should begin with you. It should begin with me, so that we get rid of corruption from this land. I am Anu Luakbo. Omoride. Join us tomorrow for another interesting episode of AM Cafe. Till then, stay out of trouble.
And I'm Bola Bofimosko, wishing you a blessed day.